Good evening and welcome to our crafting session this evening. My name is Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley in Northamptonshire in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm back to my normal time on a Thursday evening. I did pop online this morning to show you all of the designer papers most of the designer papers in our new annual catalogue, and this is my normal slot on a Thursday evening. So you can find me here on Facebook Monday and Wednesday morning, Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and all of these videos get uploaded to YouTube. So if you prefer to watch on YouTube, that's absolutely fine. You'll be able to find the videos there. So this week we've been concentrating, hi Kat, on the Crafting for You stamp set, and this is perfect for crafters in your lives. Let me show you the page on the catalogue. If you're looking for this, you can find the details on page 91. The stamp set is £20, and then you can purchase the dies either separately or you can purchase them at a bundle at a discounted price. Oh, I've got ink on my fingers already. And if you buy the two together, that's discounted from £57 down to £51.25. There are 13 stamps in the set, and there are amazing, I want to say 27 dies. I'm just going to check that. 156 is the page. 21, I beg your pardon, I misread it. So 21 dies in the set. And I'm just going to show you how those cut out elements. So these are the cards that we've created so far this week. So if you've joined me earlier this week, you will have seen me create some of these cards. I also created some at Coffee and Card, so they're not necessarily ones that are on here, but they'll be very similar to ones that I've already created. So let's have a look. We've got this one here using the easel, and I did think, having cut this easel out with the dies, which I'll talk about in a second, although I guess they don't have easels like that at school anymore, but I was thinking you could stamp this and put white embossing powder on and heat it up, and it would look like a traditional blackboard. And then you could stamp something on and heat emboss it, or use some fluorescent markers or something to put a message on, or stamp something and heat emboss it. So you could use it as an easel with a welcome message as well, obviously, as its intended art easel. So this one is here. So You Inspire Me comes as part of the set. This was the one that I created live yesterday, and this has got the embroidery hoop, and I stamped some other flowers from a different set, and also the little background to make it look like it was a cross-stitch design, and then the sentiment that comes with the set, life is better when you're crafting, and then we had the little basket and the cotton reels. So that was yesterday's one. And then these are assorted ones that I created in Coffee and Card, so they're not necessarily put together. I just need to pop them onto note cards. So these were samples that I did at Coffee and Card. So we have this one here. We have this one as well, and this one was inspired by Tara, a good friend and a very talented crafter. And she said it would be fun to mask off the outside rather than the inside, and or the other way around, and then put some flowers on to make it look like a background, like wallpaper. and so I came up with that one as a result of Tara's suggestion, and I think that works particularly well. Let me just turn it over maybe on the back of here so you can see. It's come up really cute, and I've used that lovely bubble bath colour for that. And then some other variations on a theme. This one here that I stamped the ferns from Nature's Prints. We've got the wool in the basket. And having just seen that, you could also just ink up this element and make it look like a stool or a table. So you don't necessarily have to have that piece as well. You could just ink that up and mask off the edges and make that into a stool with a basket on the top. So there's that one there, and that one's got, of course, some wool and that on our envelope. And then these were from Tuesday using the sewing machine, so just stamping it as a background and stamping it in a circle. And then as a result of that one, I also cut some squares with our Stylish Shapes dies and cut them up to make them look like triangles, like a patchwork effect. And that was on Tuesday. So let me introduce you to the dies that go with the stamp set, and then we'll do a little bit of creating. So these ones you will have seen already, because these are just cutting out some of the elements of the stamp set. Now there are a few missing. I haven't stamped the paintbrushes, and also there's a single flower which I haven't stamped, but you get the general idea. So it cuts out the easel. We've got the sewing machine and the die cutting machine, the basket, and then these two elements here. And then on the right hand side, these elements cut out details that don't have stamps that go with them. So we have a cute little ruler here with embossed lines on it. We have a basket that's embossed. We've got hearts and stars and flowers. We've got the little cotton reel that we used yesterday. We've got the embroidery hoop, and we've got a pair of scissors, and then we've got this cutest little trimmer, and it even has a slot that you can slide some paper into, and then a tiny little top which would be the trimmer blade. So I'm hoping you can see that. So really sweet set of dies. And the scissors you could obviously cut in silver card and coloured card, and then just snip off and put silver, and these are two pieces, and you could also put a little brad through so that the scissors would actually potentially move. You could move them in and out. So those are the dies. Now I have cut out a little bit in preparation, not a great deal, so I've cut out another little trimmer, and also the trimmer blade, and I'm quite glad to say that this blade is actually attached to the die that cuts out the trimmer. So this is the die, and then there's the little blade on the top, because the thought of me losing that is very there's a very good chance that I would. And having said that, there are some buttons as well, and while extracting it from the sticky sheet, the buttons hopped off my table onto the floor, and I've yet to find them. So I will find them and get those sorted out. So for our card today, I'm actually going to use a sample in the catalogue. Let me just find the page again. I think it was 91. Fingers crossed, yes it was. So I'm going to use this as a sample here, and this has got a diagonal cut and some different patterned paper on there. I'm probably going to use oh, can't think of the word now. It'll come to me in a second. The countryside inn papers, because I've cut into those already, and I want some sort of little pattern designs. So I'm going to be using these and probably some boho blue. So let's just see what I could use. Doesn't really matter, so I'm going to have that one, I think. Just being careful not to lose that. And I think a little bit of the light coloured stripe just to lighten it up. And they've got 3 pieces, but I think I'm just going to do 2 for mine. And I've got conveniently a piece of boho blue, so I'm going to use that for our card base as it's to hand. And I'm just going to fold this in half. Crease it. So I hope everybody's had a good day. Okay. So that's going to be my card base. And then I'm going to put 2 pieces across here at an angle. So I'm going to do one like that. Perhaps having those wasn't such a good idea. Let's have, I really want more of an all over pattern, but this will do for one. I just don't want 2 directional ones for the first piece. So let us do that first. I'm looking for my trimmer. Right behind me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut this first to the size of the front of the card so that I can actually make 2 cards out of this. And I am going to make it, I'm going to make it full size. Normally I do a little border, but I think I'm going to do this one full size. And so this will be 14.85. Like so, by 10.5, and then let's just see, maybe I'll have a little bit of this at the bottom, and I'm going to do the same measurements and then cut them together on the trimmer. I've just cut that too small because I'm used to doing 10 centimetres as a layer, but that's actually quite handy because I might use that. And then 14.85, so, and then all I'm going to do is put these 2 together and just cut across with my trimmer. So I'm not going to measure it or anything, I'm just going to cut it across there to give me effect. And then I've got one piece and the other piece I'm going to split them. So let's just see, I might just go from here to here, like so. So really not measuring anything at that point. Obviously you could, if you wanted to, measure that accurately. And so I'm going to put this one on the top. I think I might swap these round, and then this one on the bottom, like so. And then what I'm going to do is, they've got a die cut Stampin' Up and emboss machine, and then the trimmer with the little sentiment going through it. So let's do that. So I've got my trimmer here, and let's stamp the die cutting machine. I've got basic grey to hand. So I hope you're well, Kat. Thanks for joining us. And I need to find the stamp set again. There it is. Okay. Let's just pop this onto a block. Just being careful of my wood on there. I don't want the grain actually running through the middle. So just pop that on there like that. It's a really nice crisp image. And it's really well shaded as well, so you can see that. And obviously you could stamp that any colour you wanted. Just bring it up. Don't want to bring it too close because it does tend to go out of focus a little bit. And let's also stamp that sentiment. Hi Lynn, I hope you're well. So I'm going to use Sending You a Handmade Hug, I think. Like so. And I think I'll actually use, which way am I going to do it? I'm going to do it like that. And I'm going to stamp some flowers here on the right hand side and then put it into the trimmer as if I'm cutting between the words and the flowers. At least that's the intention. I could also use some of the patterned paper and put that on the right hand side. But I'm just going to stamp this, and I think I'm going to use Night of Navy, just so I've got a contrast in there. She says, no, that's Mr. Moonlight. Not quite what I want. Let's see. Starry Sky. Starry Sky will do. So, let's pop this on next. So, Sending You a Handmade Hug. I'm wondering if you've got this set, Lynn. It's the sort of thing that you would probably have. Might be on your want list. Okay, so let's do that, and then I've got actually the little flowers from here. That might work. We'll try it and see. Let me just put a piece of grid paper underneath, so I don't mark my piece of wood. So I want to leave a gap where my trimmer's going to go. That wasn't ideal, was it? See if I can just recover that a little bit. I thought it might have been. I think a lot of demonstrators will have purchased this, but I think it's really great for anybody who has craftspeople in the family, whether that's sewing or painting. Okay, so I'm going to trim this here, and I'm hoping that that will fit in our little trimmer. Oops. Which it will. Okay, so I'm going to do that next and then cut out our cut and emboss machine. Okay, so let's put this a little bit together. So this piece here opens so that you can slide something in, and I recommend you slide it in before you try and attach it, because if you're not careful it's quite easy to glue the pieces down at the back. So what I'm doing is I want to make it look as if I'm cutting that away from there. So you can position it in the middle, you can have it at the bottom, really up to you. I think what I'm going to do is put it roughly in the middle, like so. Like that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is just lift this up and put a little bit of glue on the back. I can see. There we go. I do excuse my red fingers. It's because I was stamping out the wool and the flowers in red. Okay. And then I'm going to pop our little trimmer blade on, and this has even got a line embossed just like our trimmer has, to mark the trimming position. Now I do actually have a spare grey one. What I'm going to do is put the two together so it's just slightly bigger, thicker. So I'm going to put the grey one underneath, and I just want the tiniest bit of glue, like that. Find my tool with the putty end on, which is here. Pick up the black piece, and I'm just going to put that on top, like so. Just going to hold it there for 10 seconds or so, and then I'm going to pop this probably just here. Let's see where it's going to fit. Maybe I'll put it down at the bottom, and then I know it won't be in the way. Picked up an older glue. Let me try a newer one. So the job I've got to do after this is to find my tiny little button dies. So what I will do to find those is I will grab one of my strong magnets and run it along the floor. Okay. So I'm just going to put this here. You could put this bit actually down at the bottom if you wanted to. It's being troublesome. Sorry everybody. Can switch glues. Oh dear. Right. There we go. That's it. Right. It's on the far right hand side when I'm looking for that. And then I'm just going to pop this on here. Like so. That'd be good if it was straight really, mightn't it? Okay, so there's our cute little trimmer cutting off the between the handmade hug and the flowers. Couldn't think of the word. Okay, now I'm just going to cut this one out with our die cutting machine. And the good thing is that all of these little elements fit our small die cutting machine, the mini. even the easel fits that. So I'm just going to put this on the left hand side. There's my little die cut at the ready. And here is the die. So as I said, there are 21 dies altogether. And what's good is things like the cotton reels have multiples on them. Just going to put a little bit of tape on. There we go. You can see I've got a little crack forming. I think I might need to order some spare plates. Okay. It does get very well used, I have to say. Okay, I'll pop that down there. There we are. And I guess you could also put a tiny little piece of paper in there to make it look like it was being embossed or cut. Right, so let's see. So this is my plan, but let's see if it's going to work. So I've got these two layers that are going to go on the front. And then I've got this one here. And our die cutting machine here. So yeah, that definitely works. Quite busy, isn't it? But it will do the job. Okay, so let's put these layers down. I've got on the other side. Oh, yeah. Right, far right hand side. It might have been better with this one actually, mightn't it? Look. Oh yes. It's the wrong way around, Jenny. Let's stick with it. I'll probably be making some more of these anyway, so I can play around with the layers. So just put this one on first, like so. Didn't do my normal trick of putting these two together, which I should have done, but I think I'll be alright. So I hope everybody has a nice quiet morning, afternoon or evening ahead planned. I'm hoping to get out and walk Cassie in between the showers this evening. We've had a lovely day and then some horrific showers since. Okay, so that's that. Now you could add a little bit of ribbon on there if you wanted to, or a strip of different card. I have got... yeah, that goes the wrong way. And that's a little bit too close, isn't it? Okay, right, don't lose that die, Jenny. So, my plan is to put this here and our die cutting machine here. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit. That definitely works, and I might add a little bit of thread or something on there, and I'm going to pop these on with dimensional just to give them a little bit of interest and a little bit of height, and then we're done. So if you didn't catch it this morning, you can watch the replay on YouTube, which was all the introducing you to all of the papers and the details of our paper share, if that's of interest. And I can ship to the UK and Ireland. Just going to put some smaller pieces on here. Just watching out for that central panel so that you can't see. And then let's just put a little supporting piece for our layers. So you could add pattern paper instead of stamping this element if you wanted to. So I just stamped the two parts to make it look like I was cutting it up. And what would be quite nice would be to stamp this all the way over a piece and have that as part of the card. So I might rethink and redo one with that, because those flowers are very pretty. And you could stamp those straight onto the card if you wanted to, and not have a layer, and then have it plain on top, or just a strip. Right, I'm going to pop this on. I'm not going to put it down too hard, just in case I need to move it. So there's that one there. And then this one here. There we go. So I know that's in the right place. And there we are. There's our finished card. Cute. So there it is. We've got our little trimmer there. We've got our die cutting machine. You could also add scissors if you wanted to, but I wanted to keep this very much paper crafting. And the scissors will work for paper craft, but they'd also work for the sewing. I could have also incorporated the ruler. So there's lots of different things you can do with that. But I'm pleased with how that's worked out. Let me just hold that up. Hopefully you can see that okay. Depends on which screen. I've got three that are in view. I've got my phone, I've got my live video, and then my Facebook video. So hopefully on one of those you can actually see what I've created. And I think what I'll do on the inside is just pop another die cutting machine, or maybe I'll just put those flowers in actually, because they would look nice on the blue. Thank you, Lynn, I'm glad you liked it. So just casing from the catalogue. Let's find our piece of paper, just make sure there's nothing in there that shouldn't be there. So I'm just going to put this across the corner and we're done. And how are we doing for time? Oh, a bit longer than I'd planned, but I was introducing the dies, so it wasn't quite so much crafting time. Just want to turn this round like so. That looks really lovely, that blue on blue. Let's just do that. Flip it on there. Why not? Okay, and then I could put on the inside one of the sentiments with the Crafting for You stamp set. So you inspire me, or I could add with love, or life is better when you're crafting. It would make a lovely card for somebody who's maybe not crafting at the minute. Give them a little bit of love and support. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me this evening. If you're watching on replay, feel free to use #replay so that I know. And I could carry on with this and make another card in the same way, either like so, or I could switch that round. That looks quite nice too, doesn't it? That way round. So entirely up to you, but I hope you like the design. Case straight from the catalogue. it's really a great idea to look at the samples in the catalogue, even if they're stamp sets that you've got that are similar, because there's always new ideas in our catalogue, always. So thank you so much for joining me. Do take care. I shall be back. No, when will I be back? I will be back Monday. Can't believe it's Thursday already. So I will be back Monday morning at 10 a.m. for another live session. So I wish you a great weekend, and I look forward to catching up with you really soon. Thank you so much. Bye for now.